We're back with the passing show here on Harrowings Live, looking down 21st Street, trying to get around. Got some police activity here. I expect that means a motorcade will be coming through shortly, blocking off part of Florida Avenue. I'm making my way down 21st Street if all goes well. You see the moon hanging in the sky. You all look at the same moon. Nobody here joining me yet. That's fine. The passing show is out early to take in who, what, when, and where, give a little raw journalism, a little primary documentation for historians of the future. Potentially. We don't know. We don't know what'll happen to these little bits and bytes that are stored off in, I think, Amazon's cloud right now. I think that's what Substack's using as the data centers that Amazon makes available. There's a lot of compute out there. It's been rigged up like a utility, basically. And it's a little different than the world we were living in the past. Things have evolved. Effectiveness and efficiency has been taken. Well, there's also been profit motives involved as well. As you can do. A lot of people make their living as engineers these days. Others make their livings as architects. Some are visionaries. Been working on my vision a bit. We ended up with a Hungarian folk tale or at least the introduction to one last night, because all things work together. It's all part of our culture. Some folks here need to be fined for not clearing the sidewalks in front of their houses. This is very treacherous. Glad I set out a little early for my cardiology appointment, since someone has seen fit not to clear their sidewalks. Also have some black ice has formed on the sidewalk that has been cleared. So again, one must walk like a penguin, keeping the center of mass over the feet and being very careful in any slippages. It's cold. Sun is just beginning to come up. We are at dawn on February the 5th, 1963. First day of my 64th spin around the sun. 63 yesterday. And I'm really grateful for that. Got a call into Mom, who was there, of course, when I arrived. And I don't think many people who were there when I arrived are still here. Small percentage, because this is a temp job, folks. All those who were 63 when I was born in 63 are now gone. No one is 126. And that's something to think about. I don't think I'll make 126 if past is prologue. I think the maximum so far is 122 in some days. My French lady, Jean Colomet, I think is how his name is pronounced, but I don't know. And Jean. Anyway, so we're all in this together, though. Those of us who are still spinning on this jumping green spare, as Lord Buckley would have it. I don't know if y'all remember Lord Buckley, a comic from the 1950s and the 60s. Poor guy committed suicide. He was under investigation for marijuana possession. And it was all too much, apparently. Ruined his career. And that was too bad because, a lot of people have been ruined by the way in which we punish each other. I don't know. I just know how things seem to me. It seems to me that most of us are traumatized primates. Good to have a few of you with me. Assemblywoman Deborah Mazzarelli is here. Saw you posting something interesting the other day. I forget what it was, but somebody was reposting. And Osman, AU, and thanks for saying hi. Where are you and how are you are the two things I want everyone to tell because I think it's interesting. At least, how are you? Even if you don't want to give away where you are. And it can be just vague, like I'm in America. I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm by the Phillips Collection. Out of many, reframing an American art collection, an exhibit I was not particularly impressed with. But, they can't all be winners. But the Phillips collection itself is a winner and has a permanent collection to be envied. Duncan Phillips had an eye for modern art and opened the first museum of modern art in America, exclusively devoted to modern art, that is. The Phillips collection, the house his father, I think, had bought and he had inherited, was converted into a museum, as you see there. And the galleries are in the different rooms. They used to have regular furniture in those, and there was very homey feeling. But they had a fire, and they changed how they did that. Took out some of that furniture and put in some more generic stuff. Doesn't quite have the same feel it used to. That's not too good. I need to cross the street anyway at some point, so I'm crossing now. Going down to Lafayette Center. There we go. On this little Q Street intersection, 21st. This sidewalk's pretty clear. We had some snow a week and a half ago, and it's still here because it's darn cold. Nice to have the three of you with me. Lisa Sanchez, good to have you. If you have questions, let me know. Have thoughts. My monologue tends to just be a monologue. If you want to come on live, just ask, and we can have a conversation as I walk, if you like. The air is very still right now. This is Inspire, um, senior living facility, advertises in the New Yorker, at least, um, and a high-end place for seniors, as I understand it. Hoping to get a friend of ours in there. I don't know if much progress has been made on that front. He's out in South Dakota, hopefully being well cared for. My stepdaughter lost his wife and needs somebody to look after him. He's had a long career. Our friend Larry, that's who I'm thinking of. Anyhow, Larry was the first Vietnam War veteran to run for president. He didn't make it very far, but at least he ran. He made an attempt to be a leader, and he was, in many ways, a leader. Famous for being the one who could not be bribed and actually turned in those who tried to bribe him in the Abscam scandal, which exposed the corruption of our senators who would be on the take. You don't think that's happening still? I don't think you're really paying attention. And I'm sure that a lot of those things are done under the auspices of legal maneuvers. But I think they toe the line right up to the edge in order to enrich themselves through their positions of representation of the people, supposedly, but end up being the representatives of power. Big money. Citizens United says money is speech, and we got a problem there. We haven't fixed it yet. We need to make sure that our elected officials are committed to fixing it. Once they get to Washington, though, they're pretty quickly educated in how that's not going to work. And I don't know. I just nothing seemed to me. I'm in the periphery in the shadows, observing the passing show, all of it. Washington, D.C. Yes, indeed. Looks like we've got some pretty narrow passes up ahead, too. People just did the bare minimum of clearing their sidewalks, and we need to do better for each other. If you're an owner of a property, take that in mind wherever you are, that endangering your fellow citizens by not clearing your sidewalks, well, it's criminal, really. Very inconsiderate as well, just bad manners. And onward. See, I've got some blocks to go before I get to my 7:30 appointment. 7:14 now. So at O Street, and I need to get down to between M and L Streets to be on target. Getting to get a little worried I'll be late. Not as fast as I used to be. But in any case, I think I'll be close enough. Still 7:14. That's good. Almost to O. The mansion on O Street, up the block, has beautiful sculptures of characters from Alice in Wonderland out front. And there it is. It's got wreaths, probably decorated for the season still. Illuminated wreaths on that house up there. A little hard to see through the bushes at this point. Let's see, I'm going to have to walk around here to get to a bare spot. And even then, I'll be a little particular about crossing the ice. Somebody started trying to clear that, but didn't get all the way through. I really hope they do their jobs, respectively, these property owners or their contractors. Okay, anybody else join Cristiano Machado and Usman Jallo? So I have one Usman and another Usman. Good to have you with us. This is a passing show. A little bit of who, what, when, and where. Primary documentation for historians of the future. This is Washington, D.C., center of power, politically speaking, in the United States of America, our federal city, and the District of Columbia. It is not a state yet. We have been campaigning for statehood for Washington, D.C. for a long time, but we don't seem to make much traction on that front. You can see the moon, the jets going out of National, heading somewhere. I sometimes go and find out what planes are launching for my edification. I had a dream last night that I watched a party board a plane out of an airfield and saw the report of its crash. All hands lost. And there are members of my team on it. So that was shocking. My team, it's a creative team involved in creating a movie rights of a poem or play or something that I was translating from Danish into English. And the idea caught fire with the author, and we were working together and getting this done, this team. But if the plane went down, I think all bets were off. So having a real hard time signing the contract or understanding the contract as well. The pen wouldn't write. It would write on other areas, but it wouldn't write on that particular signature line. I kept trying. Of course, I was also signing something in a foreign language that I didn't understand, which I felt funny about. I don't know. It's bizarre. You know how dreams are. thinking about a series of dreams. So on we go. There was more, and I was telling my wife about a little bit of it. Didn't make sense. Maybe it was a vision of the future because a lot of what we do here doesn't make sense out on cyberspace. My idea is to amplify signals through the noise. I was amplifying my friend Lori earlier today. Hey, Mick, um, where are you and how are you? It's my two questions to my guest here. And I know you're kind of like active and responsive and actually somebody who I talked to or with or at or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Here's what it is. Let's see. How am I going to get across here? It's a huge section here that's sort of gotten in my way. Oh boy. That's probably not doable. Maybe I can walk around the outside of it all. Again, black ice is a great danger here. We're going to do a penguin walk. There's another patch. Yep. Very carefully. That's how you have to go about this. Doing fine out here in the great state of Oregon. Oregon. I don't know, where are you in Oregon? Are you north, south? I don't see it. So, yeah, we should probably get up to some work together, Mick, at some point. You want to come on live and talk back and forth? It's really early there. What you doing up so early? It's corner of New Hampshire and M Street. Yeah, I don't see a response yet. So, oh, there's Lafayette Center. That's where I'm going. Next block. Almost there. 7:20. No, be there probably about 5 minutes early for my cardiology appointment. Southwest of the Cascades. Okay. I'm on the radio sometimes in Oregon on KSKQ out of Ashland in the Rogue Valley. My friend Holly, Lori, and Adams holds forth from there. I had a really interesting post this morning from my friend Lori Kurtdilla, who shared some very intimate information about her childhood abuse at the hands of an uncle who went state's evidence about doctors drugging and raping their patients and got himself immunity. So my friend Lori never got justice. And the abuse she suffered at the hands of her uncle. She wrote a book, though, called I'm Gonna Tell. And she stars in a movie called Day of the Dead by George Romero. You may know it. First strong female lead in a horror flick. Sarah is Laurie's character. So, there's a Center for the Study of Horror Films as a genre at the University of Pittsburgh, Hillman Library. And Laurie's been a big part of that. And I love her. Just a huge force for good in the world, both on the silver screen and in real life. So I'm Gonna Tell is the name of her memoir. It's an offbeat tale of survival, published in the year 2000, as I recall. I have a copy. And what else am I going to talk about? I hope to have her on the show sometime soon. You haven't gotten your native Substack app set up properly yet, but plan to do that. Not sure if I can talk via this interface. Probably. I don't know. If you've got it on the phone, maybe. If you've got it on a laptop that isn't a Mac, probably not. It's what Skip and I found out the other day. Skip Healy was my guest. We recorded and then I posted it. And I hope you all enjoy it because Skip is a really interesting raconteur coming to us from Switzerland. Lafayette Center. Here we are. I'm heading across to the best of my ability to my appointment with Dr. Lager. He's one of the better cardiologists in the area. He heads up the team. And I've got to get my ascending aortic aneurysm checked. Those are 4 centimeters and change. And at this point, it's a matter of watching it. If it gets worse, they get to go in, sew it over, or whatever they do. I think this is it. So we're going to wrap it up here, folks. And thanks for joining. The Chromebook probably won't work. See you later.